Teams have had a tremendous rivalry over the years. New England has dominated at New England. Miami's won 16 in a row here.
They certainly have. And, you know, and the key for the Miami Dolphins today is the same thing. They've got to control the line of scrimmage. They have to be able to stop the New England Patriot running attack, and also they have to be able to also run when they want to run, but also throw the football.
Well, you and Charlie Jones have come up with something that everybody kind of looks forward to. What is the quarterback's quote for the day?
Well, the quarterback's quote, you know, this series has been going on for a long time. As Charlie said, they've played the last 17, 20 years. The team that's home seems to win all the time. The Dolphins have won 16 in a row. In Foxborough, the Patriots have won 7 of the last 8. So my quote would be, home sweet home.
All right, home sweet home, says Bob Griese, and a warm afternoon. And the heat down on the floor of this stadium may take its toll later on this afternoon. The Miami Dolphins have won the toss, and they will be kicking off from left to right. The Dolphins in their home white uniforms. The New England Patriots in their red jerseys this afternoon. The Patriots 2-2 in preseason. The Dolphins were 3-1. Playing for real, both these clubs victorious last week. Von Schamann will put the ball in play. The former Oklahoma star, now in his 6th season. Robert Weathers is the deep man, number 24, downfield for the New England Patriots. We hope you'll enjoy it wherever you are around the nation. The referee is Chuck Heberling today. The field in excellent condition. A crowd of about 65,000 watching, and the ball comes off the tee. I think that might set a record. He's gone up there and teed it up about 3 or 4 times now, Bob, already.
Jay, the wind can really whip around in the Orange Bowl, although it's not blowing too hard now. The key factor as far as weather is going to be the humidity on these two teams.
All right, Von Schamann booms one. And Weathers is not going to come out. Von Schamann has been a key factor. They don't return many off of it. And only 19-yard average last year. Offensively for the Patriots, Grogan out of Kansas State with Collins and Derek Ramsey, the H-back. Lynn Dawson is the tight end. Cedric Jones starts at wide receiver. Stanley Morgan still not 100%, and Stephen Starring. Pete Brock at center. The great John Hanna working with Ron Wooten at the guards and Holloway and Haley at the tackles. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Jones goes in motion. The handoff to Collins. Outside of the 25 and up. Very close to a first down. In fact, he got it at the 32-yard line. Don McNeil, the cornerback, number 28, ran him out of bounds over there. This defensive unit for the Dolphins with Betters, Baumhauer, and Bocamper. The linebacking core, Brodzinski, Roan, Mark Brown, and Charles Bowser. Some changes there for the Dolphins. McNeil, Judson, and the Blackwood brothers in the secondary. A first down on the first play of the game for the New England Patriots. Collins carrying that ball. He had 83 yards and a 4-yard average last week at Rich Stadium in Buffalo. Collins again, the single setback, bangs his way to the 35-yard line. And Doug Betters, number 75, is there to make the tackle. Collins out of East Carolina from Little Penn Yan in central New York State. He's already in the top 5 all-time rushing for these Patriots.
You know, Jay, the Patriots started off the game with a play that the Washington Redskins used last week against the Dolphins. Was very successful. The Redskins used 2 tight ends, as do the Patriots, so I'm sure they got that from the film study this week.
2nd down, a short 8. And Grogan calls on Collins once more, and he's out to the 39-yard line. Collins banging out there behind Wooten and Haley. Doug Betters, 75, on the tackle. And Bob, it's obvious in the early going that Ron Meyer wants to establish his running game. This game that is built around Collins, the fine single setback offense that we're seeing more and more of these days. And with Holloway, Hanna, Brock, Wooten, and Haley up there, they're doing an excellent job of controlling the line of scrimmage early. 3rd down and 2. Grogan may have checked off here. He pitches back to Collins. He's outside. 1st down, out to the 45-yard line. Don McNeil, the cornerback, had to come up and make the tackle. Another 1st down for New England.
You were right, Jay. He was checking off, and what he was doing was he was looking at the safeties. He was going to toss that ball to the right or to the left. He called in the huddle, toss 38 or toss 39 straight, check with me. He goes up to the line of scrimmage. He sees where the strength of the Dolphin defense is, and he checks it the other way. And the way he says that is, I'll call 3 an odd number if we're going left and an even number if we're going right. It could be just that simple.
Greg Hawthorne, number 40, has come into the game for the Patriots. That's Hawthorne coming in motion. 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. Collins again. And he gets a couple. Collins getting a workout here. McNeil, number 28, on the tackle. The Patriots have yet to throw the ball.
No surprise there, Jay. The same play they started the ball game off with, a little stutter trap to the right side. Hanna 73. This time the Dolphin defense is a little bit tougher. Stops it for maybe a gain of 2.
Starring coming to the near sideline. Collins 33, Hawthorne 40, and Ramsey 88. In there with that single setback on 2nd down and 7. Up the middle, Mose Tutupu. Tutupu in the game, the big guy from USC. He was used a great deal in the 4th period last week at Buffalo to control the ball as the Patriots had the lead.
Watch John Hanna, number 73, right here on this block, on this man right here. The play is going to come right in here inside of Hanna. Let's take a look at it. Hanna 73 moves his man out, back sees it, cuts to the inside. John Hanna, an all-pro, one of the best offensive linemen maybe to ever have played this ball game.
Tutupu and Collins in the backfield now on 3rd down and 2. Collins goes in motion. Play action. Grogan throws. The receiver fell down. Lynn Dawson, all alone at the 45-yard line, would have had the 1st down, but he slipped.
Good call. You see him stumbling. I don't know what it was, Jay. It just seemed like he tripped over the line, but it was a good call. If he would have hit the receiver, been a 1st down, kept the drive going.
Luke Prestige on to do the punting. He's taken over for Rich Camarillo, who is out for about half this season. Mark Clayton is back in the middle to receive the punt. As Bob Griese has indicated, the wind can swirl on the floor of this stadium. Open-ended down to the right. He goes toward the far sideline, hangs it high. It is out of bounds. And it will be Miami taking over inside the 15-yard line. No score here in Miami. Miami set to put the ball in play at the 12-yard line after the punt by Prestridge. It'll be Dan Marino at the quarterback spot. At the moment, he's got Andra Franklin in there. Clayton 83, Jensen 11, and Duper 85. Don Shula looking on, the head man of the Dolphins. Coming in motion. Clayton, and the handoff going to Franklin. And Franklin didn't get much, a yard or 2 at the most. In on the tackle, Larry McGrew, number 50, the right inside linebacker. He's playing for the injured Clayton Wysoon. There's Marino, Nathan Franklin with Johnson, Duper, and Clayton. As we mentioned, Jensen is in there right now. Easler, Foster, Stevenson, Newman, and Laxo up front. 2nd down and 8 from the 14-yard line. First quarter, no score, 10.5 minutes to play. Penalty marker goes down, and driving up the right side was Tony Nathan near the 20-yard line. Again, Larry McGrew, number 50, there to make the tackle. The referee, as we mentioned today, is Chuck Heberling, a 20-year veteran of National Football League action. Have a new rule this year, Bob. The referee announces the penalties while the umpire steps them off.
I think it's a good rule too, Jay.
Illegal motion, number 87, offense, second down.
The call goes against Dan Johnson. Johnson, the tight end, number 87. A look at this defensive unit. Williams, Owens, and Sims. Sims playing over on the right side today. Tippett, Nelson, McGrew there, and Lippett, Clayton, James, and Sanford. Banging up the middle, Tony Nathan. Nathan, who played at Alabama, hit by Steve Nelson, the other inside linebacker. He's number 57. The Patriots with Nelson and McGrew in the middle today, Tippett and Blackman outside, and Dennis Owens playing the nose in place of Lester Williams. And now they'll go to the nickel as Fred Marion comes in and McGrew comes out. 3rd down and 7. New England in the prevent defense. Cepolo, 81, and Joe Rose, number 80, are in the lineup for Miami. Out of the shotgun, Dan Marino. And it is complete for a first down to Mark Duper. Duper, who has been explosive here over the last 2 seasons. A 16-yard pickup. Ray Claiborne made the tackle, number 26.
Duper just comes down, turns to the inside, a little square in pattern. They're going to be running a lot of these patterns in between the zones today because the Patriots play deep. They will give you the hooks and the curls, the outs and the square ends, but you won't get the big bombs that the Dolphins experienced last week against the Redskins.
It's a first down. The ball at the 32-yard line. Handoff going to Andra Franklin. Franklin getting to the 35-yard line. Dennis Owens, number 98, there to make the tackle.
8 of 5. Second and 5.
Take a look here at Ed Newman, the right guard. He's going to be pulling and blocking out on the linebacker. Marino's going to hand, and the play is going to come up through here. We talked about, let's take a look at it. We talked about the importance of the offensive lines. There you see the trap block, an offensive lineman coming behind the line of scrimmage and kicking out on a lineman.
Clayton goes in motion to the far side. Marino throwing out to the near sideline, and a catch made at the 47-yard line by Duper. Duper hit immediately by Ray Claiborne. St. Louis has the early lead against Buffalo. Chicago 3-0 over Denver in the first quarter. In that St. Louis game, O'Donohue kicked a 23-yard field goal. And Kansas City got a 5-yard touchdown for Brown to lead Cincinnati in the early going. First down for Miami. The ball just over the 45 at the 46, and Marino to go upstairs again. Complete out to the 46-yard line of New England. Mark Clayton made the catch. Ronnie Lippett, the cornerback, number 42, on the play.
They want to force Marino to throw, but not when he wants to. Here he's throwing on first down, a good down to throw. A little down and out, 7 yards, 8 yards and out on Lippett. The Dolphins are hitting him on the outside. Take another look at it. He'll go down 5, maybe 10, 12 yards. Breaks to the outside. No way you can stop that. You need a good pass rush. You need to stop him on first down.
Jensen comes back in for Miami. Franklin 37 and Bennett 34 there. They spread them out on 2nd down and 3. Jensen going in motion. Bang! That's Franklin. Hit right along the line of scrimmage by Toby Williams, big number 90. No score here. Let's go to NFL 84 for an update.
All right, Jay, Randolph in Cincinnati. The Chiefs are going after free safety Ray Horton. This Anthony Hancock reception from Todd Blackledge set up a 5-yard touchdown run from Theodis Brown. The Chiefs lead Cincinnati, but the Bengals are driving now. It is 7-0 Kansas City.
Kansas City club starting off in pretty good fashion, I'll tell you. 3rd down and 2. Hardy went in motion, and the handoff going to Woody Bennett, and he he does not get the first down at the 46-yard line. Nelson 57 and Lippett 42 coming up to make the play as you look at 43-year-old Ron Meyer, a native of Westerville, Ohio. You know him, Bob. You have the old Purdue connections.
He was at Purdue as an assistant coach. Really, he was a gopher at the time. He was just coming out of college himself and on the coaching staff of Jack Mullenkoff when I was a junior and senior playing quarterback. He was the man that really helped out. A good man, a good recruiter, and he has certainly done well with his coaching career.
Jack Mullenkoff, a wonderful man who coached you. Roby to do the punting. The big guy from Iowa booms it downfield, and it goes into the end zone. A touchback, and it'll come to the 20-yard line. So both clubs have had an opportunity. Nothing yet to show for it on the scoreboard. 47-yard punt a moment ago by the second-year man, Reggie Roby, and the Patriots. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Good look at Grogan. 12 out of 22 last week, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns. Lynn Dawson, the tight end, he moved. Let's see if he was drawn off. The Dolphins lead this series 22-13 as this is the 36th meeting between these two rivals. Had some fantastic games and some fantastic finishes over the years in these games. It's going to go against the Patriots. There's Dawson from North Carolina State. 5-yard penalty for encroachment. 1st and 15 from the 15 as we have 6 minutes to play in the first quarter. Cedric Jones coming out to the left side. Stephen Starring going to the right. In motion, Derek Ramsey. Lots of time, and the pass is too high. Well, Grogan, I think, was surprised he didn't get more pressure, and then he threw it too high, intending for Stephen Starring. Doug Betters covering in the area. That can happen to you, I guess, on occasion. You kind of lose your timing because nobody's there to harass you.
I think you're exactly right. I think he was expecting more of a defense against the rush and expecting a play-action pass to have some people open downfield, and when he didn't, he was a little bit surprised. But Grogan has been playing very well this year, Jay, and he's doing an outstanding job. He feels more patient, and I think he has a better grasp of the offense that Ron Meyer brought in a couple years ago.
Now in his 10th season, often maligned, but a very talented quarterback. Grogan, quick step and throws into traffic. It is complete at the 19-yard line. The catch made by Lynn Dawson, number 87, and the tackle by Mark Brown, the second-year man from Purdue, number 51. Dawson, number 8 pick back in 81, had a knee injury last season. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the Dolphins and the NFL is prohibited. 3rd down and 10. Prevent defense for the Dolphins. And Grogan straight back. Throwing, and it is complete. Derek Ramsey has the first down up at the 35-yard line. A 15-yard pickup. Mike Kozlowski made the coverage. Let's go to New York, NFL 84.
All right, Jay, Steve Grogan off to a good start. The Cardinals have scored, set up by a nice punt return by Stump Mitchell. Roy Green on the receiving end of a Neil Lomax TD pass at 4 yards. Cardinals on top of Buffalo. They have new helmets. Doesn't seem to be helping. 10-0.
Well, the Cardinals lost that one-pointer last week when O'Donohue missed the extra point. That loss at Green Bay, they were very disappointed. They think they're going to be very improved out in the Mound City. First down for New England. Hawthorne goes in motion. Collins gets the call, and he's across the 35. Collins to the 37-yard line. Ernie Roan, number 55, making the tackle. Roan, quite a find, a free agent. He was ill much of last year. You remember, had pneumonia, had some problems, but is in there playing today. Irving Fryer now in the lineup as Hawthorne comes out for New England. Collins, 31 yards on 6 carries. 2nd down and 8. 3:50 to play. No score here in the first quarter. Grogan, quick one up to the tight end Dawson again, and he is out to the 45-yard line. He's taken that quick 3-step setup back, Bob, and right now finding his tight end.
I think what he wants to do, Jay, is just control the ball, control it with his first down running, and throw the safe passes 5-10 yards down the field, and just keep Marino off the football field. New England wants to dominate. They want to run 20 more offensive plays than the Dolphins today. They think they'll win if they can do that.
Irving Fryer, the rookie, number 1 out of Nebraska, set at the top of the screen. Starring to the left. Collins with the call. And Collins getting out to the 49-yard line before Mark Brown banged into him. There's Brown, number 51. We mentioned he's out of Purdue, a number 9 pick, and done an excellent job. Collins, 147 yards and a touchdown here in October of '83. One of his best days. Detroit now leading Atlanta 10-0 in the first period as Murray kicked a 46-yard field goal. On 2nd and 8, Grogan again. This time swings it out to Collins. He's at the 50 and down to the 47-yard line. Collins rolling down that far sideline, run out by Mark Brown, number 51. Collins caught 2 passes for 24 yards last week and then rushed for 83. He's a very important man. There's Brown, limping just a little bit. Of course, the Dolphins are missing Dewey. They've had some problems and a tough time for them. 3rd down, about 2. Grogan to throw again. Coming downfield and over the head of Stephen Starring. Good coverage. Judson, number 49, did an excellent job.
Take a look out here. Here are the 2 men involved. Judson is this man right here. He just tries to run a streak down the sideline. Judson is right with him. Grogan has to overthrow it. Here we go. Judson, one of the top defensive back on the Dolphins last year, has good coverage. Grogan threw it the only place he could, Jay, and it was high and outside. Either his receiver was going to catch it or was going to go incomplete.
Prestridge to do the punting on 4th down and 2. Mark Clayton in the middle, and again he goes to the far sideline, but it is taken at the 5-yard line. Clayton gets it up across the 10 and is out of bounds near the 13-yard line. 2:07 left to play in the first period. New England and Miami, no score. After a 42-yard punt, Miami will take over for the 2nd time on offense. There's Don Shula, 54-year-old native of Painesville, Ohio. You see the 20 there on the back of the helmet. Well, that is in memory, of course, of a very fine football player.
David Overstreet passed away in an accident just before training camp.
Marino's going long, got a man downfield, and it was Mark Clayton who was a step or 2 in front of Ronnie Lippett, but they couldn't connect.
Clayton, wide receiver on the right side. Marino is going to be throwing it high and long. You know, Lippett is playing Clayton man-to-man all the way. The ball is just overthrown, but he's got to cover the 2nd-best receiver. The Patriots assigned Raymond Claiborne to cover the number 1 receiver, and that is Mark Duper. But Lippett's got no easy day covering Clayton. Clayton can really pick him up and put him down.
Nat Moore, number 89, is in the lineup. Franklin and Bennett, along with Clayton, and banging it up the middle. Across the 25 goes Andre Franklin. Franklin hit by Rick Sanford, the free safety, number 25. Franklin booming it up the middle.
First down, Miami.
Take a look right here. Woody Bennett comes back in motion. He'll come right in here and double team over the nose on the nose tackle. Marino turns and hands the ball. The play will go right up here. Let's take a look at it. We said the offensive and defensive lines would play a big part. There you see the double team, a big hole. Jay, you could have ran through that one.
I think so. 1st and 10. Out at the 27-yard line. Jensen in there going in motion, and they give it up the middle again to Andre Franklin. He's hit by Steve Nelson, number 57, after getting a couple. The Detroit and Atlanta game with 5:08 left to play in the first quarter. Detroit leading it 10-0. And Minnesota is out on top of Philadelphia. Jan Stenerud still kicking well, a 38-yard field goal. No score here in the Orange Bowl with Bob Griese. This is Jay Randolph. 2nd down and 8 at the 27. Handoff going to Tony Nathan, former Alabama star, getting out to the 32, where Don Blackman, number 55, made the tackle.
3rd down and 4.
There is number 56, Andre Tippett. 2.5 sacks last week. He played his collegiate ball for Hayden Fry out at Iowa.
Put him down on 3rd down sometime. Use him as a defensive end. Probably their best pass rusher. He's down right now coming on the pass rush.
Marion 31, Dabrowski 47 in there for the Patriots. On 3rd and 4, they go to a prevent defense. Marino gets away on the run at the 30. 35, didn't get the first down. Game close, but it was Marion, number 31, who came up and closed on him. Also, Sims, number 77, helped to force him outside.
About 56, Andre Tippett, their best pass rusher, pushes the pressure on Marino. You know, Tippett is a 2nd-degree black belt. Now, you talk about an overkill for a linebacker. I'll tell you, the quarterbacks don't have any breaks. We'll be right back.
Reggie Roby, his 2nd punt of the afternoon, averaged 45.8 last week at Washington. His first punt, 46 yards. Irving Fryer set to receive the punt. Roby, the offseason, a disc jockey in a nightclub here in Miami. This is a beauty. Fryer at the 16, at the 20, at the 25, to the 26-yard line. Fryer on the return, hit by Robert Sowell, number 45. A 48-yard boot. Oh, up to now, neither team has been able to put any points on the board. We'll be back with more. Patriots operating from their own 25. Collins, 7 carries, 34 yards. Grogan, 4 out of 7, 35 yards. In motion, Hawthorne. Pitch back comes to Collins. Collins gets near the 30-yard line. Glenn Blackwood, number 47, made a very fine play. Today's game is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Visa cards and traveler's checks, accepted around the corner, around the world. Visa. And by Wheaties. Big time crunch, big time treat. Wheaties. What the big boys eat. And the big boys are going at it here in the Orange Bowl this afternoon. Bob, nobody's put any points on the board yet, but certainly the Patriots are doing what they want to do. They're trying to control the football a little bit, and Collins again. Collins cracks near a first down at the 35. Glenn Blackwood, number 47, on the tackle. Let's go again to NFL 84.
All right, Jay, in the first quarter at Soldier Field, Jim McMahon drops back and launches a gorgeous pass in the direction of the speedster Willie Gault. He takes it in his stride, 61-yard touchdown. The Bears in the first quarter lead Denver 10-0. Back to my buddy Jay Randolph.
All right, thank you, Bob Costas, and best to you and the whole gang. Week number 2 of NFL action and NFL 84 keeping us right up to date. Dallas is behind early to the Giants, 7-0. Tampa Bay has a 7-0 lead over New Orleans. Thompson's pass to Adger Armstrong. And Minnesota and Philadelphia are now tied up at 3, as we're going to get a measurement here by Chuck Eberling. Place the ball in. They do that, Bob, when it's very close, and they've already made the measurement along the sideline.
Joe, you made a statement about New England being happy where they are. I think you're very true, very right in what you're saying, because the Patriots want to control the football. They want to eat up the clock, and I think as far as the Dolphins are concerned, they really haven't gotten anything going, but they're not going to get anything cheap like they did against the Redskins. The Patriots play a very loose, containing type of defense, and they're not going to get any big bombs very cheaply today.
Collins and Tutupu in the backfield, double tight ends. Robinson is in there with Dawson. Robinson going in motion, and the handoff to Tutupu, and they were looking for him. Tutupu last week at Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York, was making that play, but the Dolphins were looking for the big Samoan that time, and Mark Brown led the way along with Don McNeil. There's McNeil coming off. He's coming back off the ruptured Achilles. Don Shula got to be pleased the way his defense handled that one.
You know, the Patriots like to run left behind Hanna and Brian Holloway, 2 Pro Bowlers from last year, and of course the Dolphins were ready for it, slanting in that direction, and the defensive backs coming up and finishing off on the tackle.
Back to receive, Mark Clayton. Prestridge, his 3rd punt of the afternoon coming up. 13-12 to go. First half, no score. Prestridge, a high hanger, taken at the 25. Clayton outside at the 30, the 40, the 50, cuts it back in all the way down to the 37-yard line. Penalty marker down, back downfield at the 47-yard line. Well, an exciting return. Ron McSwain, number 23, finally brought Clayton down. Penalty is going to go against Miami.
It's just one of the things that Clayton can do for the Dolphins. Big wide receiver, big play man, also returns punts, but this one's going to be brought back.
Unsportsmanlike conduct charged to Rodell Thomas, number 54 of the Dolphins. Weather's going off, and we'll get a report on him in just a moment. Back with more after this.
The NFL plays here, San Diego.
Dan Fouts leads Air Coryell as he charges into the Kingdome.
The NFL plays here, Seattle.
Chuck Knox will be waiting with his Cinderella Seahawks.
The Chargers battle Seattle. The NFL plays here.
My team plays here.
For information, 326-6.
The Dolphins start from their own 32-yard line with Bob Griese, Jay Randolph. No score with 12:56 to play in the first half. Cephalo, 81, Johnson, 87, and Hardy, 84, all in there. Marino now on the run, throwing into the middle, and incomplete or complete. We're going to wait and see whether they call it a catch, as Hardy is continuing on down the field, and one of the officials is down, back downfield at the 20-yard line, and they're quickly out to attend to him. Apparently they allow the catch. Chuck Heberling, though, is more concerned with the official. Bob, I did not see whether he was hit or whether he went down or what the problem was, but they're going to bring a stretcher very quickly.
I don't know if he was hit or not, Jay. It's very hot and humid in the Orange Bowl, and he may have been overcome, but you know, he is so deep in the secondary. I don't think any of the secondary people were that deep.
Well, we'll try to get a report on exactly what happened in this situation. No score here in the Orange Bowl. Back in just a moment. Back in the Orange Bowl as the catch to Hardy was allowed, and the ball has been spotted at midfield. Now on this same play, we had one of the officials go down.
Jay, I'm not sure who it is.
I'm not either, and I don't want to say. It might be Al Jury.
I believe it was the field judge who was in the deep middle of the defensive secondary, and when Marino was scrambling around, the defensive backs of the Patriots were running backwards and forwards, and I think one of them ran over him.
Well, you can see that they have the paramedics out there attending to him at the moment. And with this pause in the play here, we're going to go back to New York, NFL 84.
All right, Jay Randolph, in St. Louis, Neil Lomax has ripped the Buffalo secondary so far today. Lomax to O.J. Anderson, 17-0 St. Louis. But remember, Buffalo fell behind 21-0 last week against the Patriots, but they came back to make it close.
An unusual moment here in the Orange Bowl as we have an official down. It is Charlie Musser. We know that it is the field judge, Charlie Musser. He is a veteran of NFL activity, and he has been placed on the stretcher, and we will try to get a report. He is conscious, as you can see, and we're happy about that.
Certainly are. It was, you see he's alert, and I think he just got run over, Charlie. It doesn't seem to be any knee injury or anything. I think he just got knocked out. It's very hot, and one of the safeties probably reversed field and came back and ran over him. He's going off. He'll be all right, but it certainly was good to see the quick action of the medical crew here in the Orange Bowl to get out and take care of him.
So we now have 6 officials on the field, and referee Chuck Heberling going over the entire situation. You see them, most of them. The field judge is kind of back there with the center fielders, isn't he?
He is the new one of the last few years. They added one official, and he stands deep in the middle of this defensive secondary and looks to the middle of the offense, to the tight end primarily. Before, they had a man on the deep outside of the secondary looking at the wide receivers, but the coaches complained that the tight end was getting held up by a lot of the linebackers and the strong safety. Nobody was looking at him. Then they added the field judge position, and his primary concern was to look at the tight end. Now those 2 deep officials, the side judge and the back judge, will have to help out covering that tight end.
We'll try to get a report on just exactly what happened to Charlie Musser. Also, we're trying to get a report on Robert Weathers, number 24, who was carried off for New England. Ron Meyer, all Big Ten academic team, the head coach at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, rebuilt the program at SMU, 3rd year handling the Patriots. Nathan and Bennett are in the backfield. In motion, Mark Clayton. And a double reverse, and there's a problem here. In trouble is Clayton, and down he goes back at the 40-yard line. Well, the Patriots read that very well indeed. A loss of 10 yards on the play. Toby Williams made the tackle, number 90. Let's go to New York.
All right, Jay, in the second quarter at Soldier Field, Gary Kubiak trying to rally the Broncos, throws long, intending for Steve Watson. It's tipped by Mike Richardson and intercepted by Leslie Frazier, the 4th-year man from Alcorn State, and so it remains 10-0 Bears. Jay?
All right, Bob Costas, and here we have a scoreless game. Bob, are you surprised nobody's put a point on the board yet? 11:40 to go.
A little bit surprised, Jay.
Second down. 20. And not much there for Andra Franklin. This defensive unit of the Patriots playing an inspired football game here in the first half.
Last year, Jay, they were very tough as far as allowing opponents to score points on them. They would bend but not break.
A touchdown for Detroit. They lead at 17-0. And Kansas City now 14-0 over Cincinnati. Blackledge to Hancock, 46 yards. Todd Blackledge having a very good start for the Chiefs. 3rd down and 20. Marino operating out of the shotgun. Lots of time, throws up the middle. Great catch at the 38-yard line by Joe Rose, number 80. Rick Sanford on the tackle. 22 yards and a first down.
Joe Rose right here will come down, straight down, and get behind all these linebackers that you see right here. Marino drops back. Here we go. Let's take a look at it.
2 yards on the play.
Joe Rose coming straight down, runs a little square in. He comes down, breaks across the field. Marino has the ball in the air before he even breaks. The mark of a very experienced quarterback, only his 2nd year.
Maybe we use the word great too often, Robert, but that was a great catch by Rose. I don't know how he was able to pick it off. Outside it goes to Johnson. And Johnson hit by Roland James, number 38, the strong safety. Very close to a first down.
Take a look at the offensive line blocking. Newman, 64, slides out. Blocks Tippett, 56, gets his hands down. Very important on a pass like that. Hit him low, try to get the hands down, gives the quarterback a clear lane to throw the football.
Johnson on the injured reserve in 82 had a lot of problems with shin splints. Second down and 1. Nat Moore is in the lineup now for the Miami Dolphins, and the handoff is going to Andre Franklin. Franklin has the first down as he bangs into the 25-yard line. Doug Rogers, number 65, playing at the end spot now, along with Lester Williams, number 72, the nose man, making the play. And Andre Franklin with a problem.
See if we can see where he gets injured. Good line blocking. Big hole for Andre Franklin.
Boy, he drove through there, didn't he?
Can't see where he seemed to have some kind of a leg or ankle problem.
Well, we've got a timeout with 9:48 left to play. Scoreless first half here in Miami. Back here in the Orange Bowl, Bob Griese, Jay Randolph, the word on Charlie Musser, the field judge. He was banged in the Adam's apple by a player going by. Clotheslined, I guess. We didn't see it. All we saw when we looked was he was down. Going wide to the right. Nat Moore. Jim Jensen is in the lineup, number 11. First down. Marino using play action. Throwing. Jensen over his head. Incomplete. Jensen, the versatile performer from Boston University. Many of you saw him play in college, I'm sure. Had a great record at BU. He's 17-3-1 while he was playing there.
Last week, Jay, against the Redskins, he caught 5 passes, the first 5 he's ever caught in the National Football League game. He's obviously a quarterback. Caught 2 touchdowns, plays on special teams, plays at wide receiver, tight end. That time they were trying to get him deep, had him open, just overthrew him a little bit.
Second down and 10. Nathan to the 22-yard line. Don Blackman, number 55, the linebacker, coming in. Withers is questionable returning. Apparently the problem is a hamstring, and Ingram has a laceration over his left eye. We're told that he probably will get back in there.
There's Andre Franklin. He went out. We'll try and get an update on his injury as soon as we can, but they're falling like flies, as they say, Charlie. Jay, I mean, it's like the heat is taking its toll.
And it's very, very warm down there. Third down and 7. Marino from the shotgun. Lots of time down the middle. Batted away at the last second. Intended for Joe Rose. And Roland James, the strong safety, 38, made the play.
Excellent play by Roland James. Probably the most underrated strong safety in the National Football League. To the left of your screen, you'll see him coming in down to the end zone. There we see at the bottom, Rose is open. James closes to the inside and knocks it down. James was the second leading interceptor on the Patriots last year and the second leading tackler. So he not only plays the pass, but plays the run very well.
Von Schauman's first field goal attempt of the regular season, 5 for 5 in PATs last week. Don Strock will hold. The ball spotted at the 29. A 39-yard attempt by Uwe von Schauman. And no good. Wide to the left. So we're still tied up here. 8 minutes and 52 seconds remaining to be played. First half in the Orange Bowl. No score. Patriots set to operate first down from their own 22-yard line. Grogan at the controls, coming in motion Greg Hawthorne. Collins gets the call. Collins to the 25-yard line. Bob Baumhauer, the big nose man, number 73, making the stop. There's Stephen Starring out of McNeese State. He was a quarterback there, Bob, and of course he caught a big pass last Sunday at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. That 65-yarder that got them started. They went out to a 21-0 lead, did the New England Patriots. 17 catches and 83 for him. Quite a performer. Second down and about 7. Grogan with lots of time, and he was trying to bail out to Collins. That's the second time today that it has appeared that Grogan has had so much time he just couldn't make up his mind. Mark Brown tipped that ball. Here's Starring on the play.
Just take a look at Starring. He was looking downfield for Starring. McNeil jams him legal within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and then Starring comes into another defensive backs area. Grogan was looking downfield, and that's why the hesitation, Jay. Came back off and tried to dump it, but the pass was deflected.
Starring now to the far side of the field. Cedric Jones set in the slot. Third down and 6. And the problem, and down goes Grogan as Kim Bocamper came across number 58 with help from Bob Baumhauer, number 73. Problem there on the snap, it appeared.
Take a look at Starring trying to get off the line of scrimmage. The Dolphins are trying to jam him. Good coverage by Judson. Ron Marr said before the game, the thing we want to do is stay out of the nickel situation. The situations where the Dolphins bring in their 5th and 6th defensive backs, and they've got good coverage in the secondary and a good rush on the quarterback. He doesn't want to play against that setup.
Punting time for the Patriots and Luke Prestridge. 39-yard average. Mark Clayton back to receive the kick. A high hanger. Clayton's going to let it go, and it goes out of bounds, and Miami will have it in a good spot. They'll operate from their own 39-yard line, 39-yard punt. Pennant races are heating up. NBC Sports has the baseball action. Here's a preview. Out of town scores Walter Payton, 72-yard run, 17-0 Chicago in that one. And the Giants, oh boy, 21-0. Detroit leading Atlanta 17-7 in the second quarter. St. Louis 17-0 over Buffalo in the second quarter. Miami with excellent field position, and the handoff goes to Tony Nathan. He's across the 41-yard line. Rodgers made the tackle. Kansas City has the lead over Cincinnati in the second quarter. Tampa Bay and New Orleans now are knotted up at 7-7, second quarter of play. Minnesota and Philadelphia tied at 3 in the second quarter. Here in the Orange Bowl, no score. We get word that Andre Franklin has a problem with his left knee and left ankle. They've taken him to the locker room here for precautionary x-rays. Double tight end alignment. Johnson 87 and Hardy 84 in there. And that is Nathan. Nathan wrapped up after he got about a yard, and doing the job is Larry McGrew, number 50, with help from Andre Tippett, 56. Again, we'll remind you, McGrew, number 50, is playing inside today for the injured Clayton Wysoon. Clayton underwent surgery this past week.
Jay, let's take a look right here. Dwight Stevenson, the all-pro center, blocking on Owens, number 98, the nose tackle. Let's take a look and see what's going on in the middle of that line. Stevenson firing out, gets a little help from Newman. Good block on the nose tackle, but the rest of the Patriots come and make the tackle.
Third down and 3. Marino throwing and intercepted at the 45-yard line by Don Blackman. Blackman, who has fine ability, his 4th career interception. The big guy from Tulsa picked it off, and an errant throw by Marino.
Don Blackman, one of the big play linebackers for the Patriots. Good coverage on the tight end, cuts in front of Rose. Marino not throwing the ball far enough to the sideline. Rose comes up and makes a tackle. We'll be right back. It's a tie ball game.
Just a moment ago, the Dolphins set up with the best field position they've had all day. Now it's the Patriots. They're at midfield. 6 minutes to play in the first half. No score. Grogan over the middle, and it's intercepted. And coming back with it is Glenn Blackwood. Blackwood at the 35, out to the 40, out to the 45-yard line. Blackwood, his 14th career interception, his second interception of the young season.
That was a very poor throw by Steve Grogan. Play action. He turns and doesn't get to see the take a look right here. Here's Blackwood. He's just going to go back. Grogan is going to fake the fake the running play and throw it right down here in the interception. He really doesn't get a lot on the football. Let's take a look. Man goes in motion. Blackwood will just fade back into the area. Grogan never sees the defensive back and throws it right to him. It's a big play for the Dolphins.
From the 45-yard line, the Dolphins have it right back. These two clubs jockeying for position here. Marino throws outside. Duper run out of bounds. And a penalty marker goes down at midfield. A little extracurricular activity. Referee Chuck Eberling coming in, talking there with the side judge. Only 6 officials on the field. Charlie Musser injured earlier.
Unnecessary roughness, number 25. On the defense, first down.
Call against Rick Sanford.
Well, you'll see the end of the play. Sanford coming in at the very end. Ball carrier was out of bounds. That's what they call for Sanford. Hitting him when he was out of bounds. The play was over with.
Sanford in his 6th season out of South Carolina. First down at the 35-yard line. No score. That's Jensen going in motion. The pass out to him. And a flea flicker coming up. Long one downfield, and it is no catch, I believe. The official on the back line, they're having a discussion. Is it a touchdown or not? It is a touchdown for Miami. Mark Duper. Jensen threw it. Duper caught it. And they finally ruled touchdown.
I don't know what the doubt was, whether it was back there. They had looks like a play. You'll take another look. This is a quick screen. I don't think the Patriots realized Jensen is out there, but he had 2 people open, and he threw it to the one that was a little bit covered. The other player was wide open. I don't see any question about that one. There's a flag on the play. I guess it was
I think the one official was trying to decide whether he had possession before he hit that white line. They ruled the touchdown, and 5:37 left in this first half. Well, apparently the flag was for a penalty. Pass interference.
Pass interference, and it was declined. And just another way that Jim Jensen can hurt you. Scored 2 touchdowns last week and throws one this week.
Looks like a ticker tape parade out there. Von Schaman, the extra point. It is up, and it's good. So the tie has been broken with 5:37 remaining to be played in the first half. It was Marino going out to Jim Jensen, and the touchdown throw to Duper. 7-0, Miami Dolphins. More in a moment. Uwe von Schaman to kick off. Miami gets on the board. They lead it 7-0. John Williams back and coming out with it at the 10 and ridden down along the 10-yard line. Leading the way, Robert Sowell, number 45 on the specialty unit. Oh, we'll look again at this touchdown play. They called pass interference, so I guess it's academic, but it looked for a moment like there might have been a problem with possession by Duper.
I think he's got it, Jay. got it before he goes out. But Jensen, what an exciting week he's had. Like I said, he caught 2 touchdowns last week in Washington. This week, he's thrown one already. He said he had an exciting week. He didn't sleep a whole lot. A lot of the national publications and media were down here doing interviews. He's got more publicity than you have in your entire life.
That's easy. That's easy. Hand off to Collins. Collins bangs his way out to the 18-yard line. Mark Brown, the right inside linebacker, number 51, making the tackle. Collins, from a family of 16, played in the Pro Bowl, had over 1,000 yards last year.
Did you say a family of 16?
That's right, 16.
They said he put on about 12 pounds this offseason. Evidently, he wasn't at home because
Must not have been
I
at
don't
home.
think he's going to.
Or they sure do cook up a mess of good stuff there anyway. Second down and 2. Irving Fryer going in motion. The handoff to Collins. He's got the first down. Mark Brown, number 51, again on the tackle. It is a first down for the Patriots. Well, we've had a most interesting first half here. 4:25 to play. Injury to Charlie Musser, the field judge, who was hit in the Adams ankle by a player going downfield. He's had to leave the game. Number of players banged up. Irving Fryer, number 1 overall in the '84 draft. Patriots operating from their own 22-yard line. Fryer in motion. Collins to the outside. Out to the 25. And again, it's Brown. Brown and Collins are doing some headbanging out there. Also coming up on the play, William Judson, number 49, for the Dolphins.
Second and 7.
Patriots are trying to run to their left behind Holloway and Hanna, trying to run at the Dolphins' right side. In the past, Kim Bokamper has gotten the reputation of not being strong against the run. He's doing very well today, and that's where they're trying to do a lot of their business.
60 yards for Collins on 13 carries here in the first half. Second down and 7. Grogan using play action. On the run now. Grogan coming to the sideline, got a block and has the first down. He had to sacrifice himself a little bit. Lynn Dawson did a good job of setting up a block for him. Mark Brown again on the tackle. He's having a fine first half on defense.
Steve says he doesn't like to run as much as he used to. He's had a few knee problems over the years, some injuries. He just as soon throw the ball away. There was good coverage in the secondary, no place to go with the ball, so he took off and ran with it.
You can relate to that. Collins comes out of the game now, and Craig James is in. James from SMU, the free agent. He's been held out, of course, has been bothered by a knee injury, but he's number 32, and he's in there now. 88, Ramsey going in motion, and that is Craig James. And he got about a yard, just shy of the 40. Mark Brown again on the tackle. Rudzinski, 59, helping out. 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining to be played in the first half. They're giving Brown a big hand, and he's coming out now. Brown's made about 5 straight tackles, Robert.
He's an excellent player. He needs to get in there and get a little bit playing time. He got a lot in the preseason because of the injury to A.J. Dewey. He was a leading tackler in the preseason. He's a fine football player.
2-minute warning given to both benches here. Miami has the lead over New England, 7-0.
7, New Orleans 7. Second quarter.
Don Shula. He's got a new gentleman on his staff, Chuck Studley. His new defensive coordinator is Bill Arnsberger, has moved on to LSU, got himself a tie yesterday. Ron Meyer in his 3rd year with the Patriots. We received word that field judge Charlie Musser was hit in the throat. His blood circulation was stopped momentarily, causing him to pass out. He's okay, but he will not return. Grogan on the run again. And throwing. And and he couldn't get it to Lynn Dawson. They were doing a little extra play calling themselves, between themselves, Bob, trying to get something going. Charles Bowser, the linebacker, 56, kind of messed it up.
What he was trying to do, Jay, is trying to get Dawson to go down the field. When he was scrambling towards him, he was covered, wanted him to go down the field so he could loop it to him. Dawson didn't get the word fast enough, and it fell incomplete.
Derek Ramsey out of the game now for the Patriots. Hawthorne comes back in. He's coming to the near sideline. Steve Grogan, number 5 draft choice back in '75. The Dolphins in a prevent defense, 3rd down and 7.
They're up there faking blitz. They drop out of it.
And the throw is complete. A fine catch at the 40-yard line by Irving Fryer. Well, there you saw the wonderful athletic ability of Fryer as he just threw himself into the air to make that catch.
An outstanding catch by Fryer as we see the hurry-up offense. Ronnie Meyer says he's something special.
23-yard pickup and a 1st down at the 38-yard line. Patriots down 7-0, trying to get on the board before the half. Grogan to the far side, complete and out of bounds, stopping the clock goes Stephen Starring. Starring out of bounds at the 31-yard line. A minute 19 remaining as the 2-minute drill is into effect for these Patriots.
Gain of 7 yards, 2nd and 3.
2nd down and about 3. Miami leading 7-0. Coming up at halftime, of course, we'll update you on all of the action in the National Football League, NFL 84. Bob Costas and the crew, again, doing such a splendid job. Ron Myers, club down 7-0, trying to get back in it here. Grogan going for Starring, and he was out of bounds. Pass intended for Starring. Don McNeil, number 28, had the coverage and did a good job. There's McNeil.
Here's a good look at a man-to-man matchup. Starring releases outside. The throw is a difficult throw. Anytime you're trying to hit this play that far downfield, McNeil does a great job of coverage. Don Shula feels as though with McNeil and Judson on the other side, he has a set of cornerbacks that are unequal to any in the National Football League. Maybe Mike Haynes and Hayes out at the Raiders are comparable, but he's very happy with his 2 defensive corners.
3rd down, 3. A minute and 12 to go. Each team has 3 timeouts remaining. Grogan, and a wonderful catch at the 10-yard line by Stephen Starring. Starring right along the 10-yard line, hit by McNeil.
Down New England. Timeout, New England.
The Dolphins were in a blitz situation that time. These linebackers are blitzing, which pulls these safeties up into coverage. The man will come from this side and catch a little slant. Grogan steps back and fires it to him. Here we go. Let's take a look. Back to pass. The back's out of the backfield. Grogan reads it. Good protection. A little slant by Starring inside of McNeil. Good execution.
We've got an isolated view, Bob. He did an excellent job. Good hands here.
Down and to the inside. Sets him up to the outside. Good move. Comes back to the inside. Not bad for an ex-quarterback. What do you think?
That ball was almost through his hands, and he held on. Starring, very impressive. He has been the 2nd-year man, as you mentioned, a former quarterback from McNeese State. 35-yard average on 3 catches last Sunday. Well, stay with us for the second half of our NBC doubleheader this afternoon. National Football League action. Some of you see Air Coryell. Dan Fouts back at the controls. San Diego taking on the Seahawks. Franco Harris is there. Others to see the Browns playing the Rams or the Indianapolis Colts battling Earl Campbell and the Houston Oilers. So join us later this afternoon for more action on this doubleheader day here on NBC Sports. There's Don Shula, a defensive back with the Browns after playing at John Carroll in Cleveland, Ohio as an offensive back. Part owner and vice president now of the Miami Dolphins. Ball is just inside the 10-yard line. A minute and 4 seconds left to go in the first half. Dolphins leading 7-0. 2 timeouts left for the Patriots. Collins is back in. Ramsey is back in. He's on the wing right. And Grogan to throw. Grogan throwing and completing and driving down. Dawson. Dawson with the touchdown. The tight end. Collins and Dawson with the celebration, and the Patriots have come back.
It's a good throw by Steve Grogan, Jay. Big play for him. The 2-minute drill works. Here we'll see. Here's one wide receiver. He'll clear it out. Dawson comes from this side and is coming across the field. Will catch the ball over here as this receiver takes his man out of the play. Here it is.
You're having a
man-to-man coverage. Good read. Good running at the end of the play.
You're very informative with that little play thing you're working with today. Having a lot of fun with it. The point after by Tony Franklin is up and good. Well, we'll take another angle for you on that touchdown. A 90-yard drive by the Patriots. Nice way to come back and bounce back in the final minute here.
Here we'll see Starring taking his man out of the way. Now he sees the ball caught. He's going to come back and try and get a block. Gets a piece of Ernie Roan, I believe it is, number 55. Dawson getting in for the touchdown.
9-yard touchdown. And the score tied 7-7 with 56 seconds remaining to be played in the first half. Tony Franklin will put it in play. Grogan now has thrown 12 touchdown passes and 16 interceptions in this, the 16th game of his career against Miami.
Dr. Blankstein, call your service, please. Paging Dr. Blankstein.
Steve has done a lot better this year, I'm told, by the Patriot PR people, Jay, because he understands the system a little bit better. He had a little input in the offseason as we look at the scoring drive. He worked in the offseason with Lou Erber, the offensive coordinator. Ron Meyer understands what Steve Grogan wants to do and likes to do, and I think they had a better meeting of the minds as far as what they want to do with their offense.
Tony Franklin in his 6th season. They're very happy to have him on board with the Patriots. Vince Heflin, a free agent, number 88, is back to receive the short high kick. Comes across the 15, 20, and a penalty marker goes down at the 18 as Heflin got to the 25-yard line. The stop was made by Ed Reynolds, number 95. And as we mentioned, the penalty marker down. You know, summer is slowly slipping away. The boys of summer still have some unfinished business, of course.
Number 52. Turn.
The call going against number 52 of the Miami Dolphins, Sanders Shiver, will put the ball back at the 10-yard line. Don't miss the absolute best of baseball, of course, the '84 World Series. The championship of baseball begins October 9th. Nobody does it better than NBC. Harry Coyle, our director today, the world's greatest baseball director. Not bad at football either. Our producer today, Ralph Abraham. Our entire crew bringing you the sights and sounds of this second Sunday's action from the Orange Bowl. Tony Nathan brings it out over the 15-yard line to the 16. Number 77 or number 85, Julius Adams, now is out there. Adams, who didn't get the start today as they moved Sims over there to start. 31 seconds, 30 seconds left now in this first half.
I think the Dolphins at this point, Jay, are just happy to run out the clock, go in at a 7-7, and come back out for the second half.
And some of the fans would like to see them try to get some more points on the board, but the Dolphins are satisfied to sit on it here, tied 7-7. That's the last play as Woody Bennett carried it up just over the 20-yard line. Blackman made the tackle. So it's the Dolphins and the Patriots all tied up here at the end of the first half. NFL 84 coming up. Back with that and more in just a moment.
Welcome back to NFL 84, and we say hello to those of you who have been watching the Buffalo-St. Louis and the New England-Miami games. Let's check the scoreboard. First of all, in that Patriot-Dolphin encounter, Ron Meyer takes the Pats into the Orange Bowl, where they haven't won since they were known as the Boston Patriots way back in 1966. Miami has beaten New England 16 consecutive times on this field. Now, after a scoreless first quarter, Steve Grogan drops back to throw for New England. It's intercepted by Glenn Blackwood. He'll dance around a bit, turn it into a good return, back to about the Miami 45-yard line. And then at that point, Miami embarks on the game's first scoring drive, and here is how it ends. From the 35-yard line, the flea flicker to Jim Jensen, the third-string quarterback, into the end zone. Beautifully thrown ball and a leaping catch by Mark Duper. There was some question as to whether or not he had stayed in after juggling it, but the catch was good. New England immediately strikes back. 90-yard drive culminated by this 9-yard flip to tight end Lynn Dawson. Ties the game up at 7-7. During that drive, Irving Fryer, the #1 draft choice for the Patriots, caught his first NFL pass. They are late in the first half at Soldier Field in Chicago, and the Bears are on their way to going 2-0. They lead Denver by a score of 27-0. There's John Elway, #7, sidelined by a sore shoulder and standing next to Coach Dan Reeves. He watches in the first quarter as the Bears, already leading 3-0, make it 10-0 on this beauty. A 61-yarder from Jim McMahon to the speedster Willie Gauld. And then Walter Payton goes to work. In the second quarter, a 72-yard scamper. Sweetness is already over 100 yards for the afternoon in the first half alone. That made it 17-0. Moments ago, Matsui scored to make it 27-0. And look what happened earlier in the first half. Kubiak is belted by Tyrone Keys. He had to be taken out on a stretcher, and that meant that Elway, despite the fact that he is ailing, had to come back into the game to quarterback the Broncos, who trail it 27-0. They are at halftime at the Meadowlands, and Phil Simms is on fire. 2 more touchdown passes. Yes, that's right. The Giants lead the Cowboys 21-0 at halftime. Also at halftime in Atlanta, Detroit is in front of the Falcons. The score there, 17-10. Bill McAtee, what's going on?
Bob, well, the Cardinals have reached agreement with their #1 draft choice, Clyde Duncan, the fine wide receiver out of the University of Tennessee, who played behind Willie Gauld, but it doesn't look like Neil Lomax needs him. He has had an excellent first half. Kay Stevenson has been frustrated in the first half. Cardinals took a 3-0 lead on a Neil O'Donoghue field goal, and then this punt return by Stump Mitchell of 38 yards brought the ball down to the 20-yard line of the Bills, and that set the stage for Mr. Lomax to go to work. 2 plays later in the first quarter, Neil Lomax, a 4-yard touchdown pass to number 81, Roy Green. And then later in the first quarter, Lomax again, another 4-yarder to number 32, Otis Anderson. The extra point was good. It was 17-0 Cardinals. Anderson scored on a 2-yard run a bit later, 24-0 Cardinals. And you have to like the job that Todd Blackledge did in his first pro start last week against the Steelers. He is building on that again today. Sam White still looking for his first win as a head coach for the Bengals, and Blackledge hit this 46-yard TD pass to Anthony Hancock, who makes a great catch. Watch this catch in traffic, the third-year man out of the University of Tennessee. But the Bengals caught a break, and you got to figure that Carlos Carson would like a chance to catch this ball back again. He misses it, tipped into the hands of Ray Horton, who replaced Ken Riley. He goes all the way. It was 14-7 Kansas City. The Bengals tied it up a bit later on a 2-yard run by Charles Alexander. It's 14-14. Halftime down at Louisiana Superdome, 10-7. The Buccaneers lead this ball game. Minnesota and Philadelphia, it has been a defensive struggle. It is 6-3. Paul McFadden has hit 2 field goals for the Eagles, one of 37 yards, and Bob, one of 27 yards.
Bill, you mentioned St. Louis having their own way with Buffalo. There are those who think the Cardinals will be the dark horse team in the NFL this year. Team to watch.
Yes, sir.
All right, stay with us now. As NFL 84 halftime activities continue, we're coming back following these messages and a word from your local stations.
Continuing growth here in the magic city of Miami, Florida. And tomorrow, Moscow. Today, Bryant Gumbel live from Moscow tomorrow morning in an exclusive, unprecedented interview with the newly named chief of the Soviet military. Bryant Gumbel tomorrow live from Moscow here on NBC. 7-7 at halftime here in the Orange Bowl as Miami got on the board first, and then the Patriots marched down the field 90 yards and tied it up just before we came to halftime. Hello again, everybody. Jay Randolph along with Bob Griese. We talked about the keys at the start of this game, and frankly, it's held up pretty well. Both offensive lines have done an excellent job.
They really have, and the defenses have done very well, too. And we said that both teams had to control the line of scrimmage. The Dolphins last year led the National Football League in fewest points allowed. The Patriots were number 3 in points allowed. So we have two tough defensive teams that don't give cheap touchdowns, and that's why we said it would probably be a defensive struggle, and also the line of scrimmage would be very important, and it has turned out that way so far.
Any different thoughts about what might be coming up for us in the third and fourth quarter?
I don't think so. I think they just went in and saw what the other team was doing, maybe changed a few things on maybe what they can do as far as getting somebody deep, but I don't really think they're going to have too many opportunities to do that.
We'll take a look at the first half statistics on this game, and as you can see, the time of possession is very equal. Both clubs with a turnover, and that total yardage, just 2 yards difference there as we get ready for the second half. And returning for the Miami Dolphins, bringing it back.
Returned by
Vince Heflin. Heflin getting it back. As Reynolds made the tackle, they'll start from the 27-yard line. There's Mr. Luongo, George Luongo, who's been with, well, he's been with the Patriots a long, long time, hasn't he, George? He has that big job, you know, coming out and getting that kicking tee. Doesn't let anybody else do it.
Oh, he loves it, too. He hustles out, picks it up. You know, the last time the Patriots beat the Dolphins in the Orange Bowl, George was here. Nobody else on that sideline can say the same thing. Not the players, not the coaches, only George.
That was 1966, 20-14. Marino starts out throwing. Over the middle, he's got his man. It's Tony Nathan. Nathan at the 40, up to the 45-yard line, and the first down. Marino going short over the middle that time. Ronnie Lippett, number 42, made the tackle, a pickup of 17 on the play. Nathan, he saw, you know, I'm always amazed at the marvelous balance that Nathan has. Came out of Woodlawn High School in Birmingham, Alabama, and he showed it there.
He certainly did. We almost lost our umpire, George Wells, and Nathan was ready to catch the ball, and it was right where the umpire was lined up.
Charlie Musser is back on the field, our field judge, and we'll relate that story again to you as Tony Nathan carries the ball to the 45. Stop made by Dennis Owens, 98. Charlie Musser was injured in the first half. He was hit by a player in the Adam's apple. He's standing now down at the 35-yard line to our right, and he is trying to go in the second half, although we've been told he probably wouldn't be able to come out. He is out. There he is. And he was hit on a play, then went down on the next play when he apparently just fainted because of the shot that he had taken. Here's a pass down to the 42-yard line. Marino to Nat Moore. Moore, the great veteran, 11th year, and of course he played at the University of Florida. They pick up 16, and Ronnie Lippett, number 42, the cornerman, again on the tackle.
Nat Moore, a great veteran for the Dolphins, has played many times in situations, many hot games. The Dolphins will be rotating their wide receivers, as will the Patriots, rotating a lot of their people, but Nat Moore had an opportunity to play last year when Cephalo was injured. 39 catches, 6 touchdowns, and it's always come up with big catches for the Dolphins.
First and 10 to go at the Patriot 38. Marino hustles out of there, throws, and it is a touchdown, Mark Clayton. Well, a marvelous throw as Marino put it on consignment to the second-year man from Louisville.
Mark Clayton will be coming from the left of your screen. He runs a deep corner pattern, wide open. Marino has the strength to get it out there before the safety Stanford gets to him. I'll tell you what, Jay, the two wide receivers for the Dolphins, Duper and Clayton, both young, both second-year players, really add some zip to the passing game. Of course, Marino's has a little bit to do with it also.
Well, he sure threw that one very well. He saw his man and came through. The point after, Uwe von Schaman puts it through from the hold of Don Strock. Miami's back in the lead early in the third quarter, 14-7. The Dolphins have retaken the lead. Shula, of course, his 22nd year as a National Football League coach, 15th here with the Dolphins. He was your coach, Bob, and no question he is one of the very, very best.
I don't think there's any doubt about that, Jay. He's well respected by all the other coaches and players in the National Football League.
Von Schaman, born in West Berlin, puts it in play, and that's Williams coming out at the 10. Penalty marker down as he got to the 17-yard line. And the call may go against number 95, Ed Reynolds.
And Eddie Hill.
The flag was thrown right there. Robert Sowell, number 45, made the tackle. Chuck Eberling.
Illegal block from the rear, number 95 on the return. First down.
Well, that's the call against Reynolds, and it's going to put the Patriots back in a hole. 12:27 left to play in the third quarter. The Patriots' losing streak here in Miami against the Dolphins has really been a monkey on the back of the franchise for a long time. From the 8. Grogan hands it off to Collins. Not much there. They were keying on the big guy. Tackle made by Bob Brzezinski. Today's game is brought to you by Chevrolet, with the performance, style, quality, and value that make up today's Chevrolet. By Stroh's and Stroh Light, fire brewed for smoother taste. And by Ryco Corporation, makers of automated office equipment and cameras. A loss of about a half a yard on the play. On second down, in motion, Ramsey. The throw comes out. Number 83, Cedric Jones. And it's going to belong to Miami. Charlie Bowser, number 56, the linebacker, came up with it on the play. A very big turnover early here in the third quarter.
A big play by William Judson. Judson filled in for Gerald Small last year and played so well he was voted the MVP of their defensive back. Hits it to Cedric Jones, and the ball comes out. Bowser jumps on it. Judson is holding Cedric Jones so he can't get back to it. Big play for the Dolphins. The defense creates a turnover.
At the 16-yard line, Miami leading 14-7. 11:45 to go, third quarter. Jensen comes in motion. The handoff goes to Woody Bennett. Bennett, who played at the University of Miami.
Number 77, Kenneth Sims.
He was a blocking back for the great star of the St. Louis Cardinals, O.J. Anderson. Tackle made by 77, Kenneth Sims, and 56, Andre Tippett. A gain of 1.
Gain of 1, second down and 9.
Saw Bennett coming out. Duper is wide to the right side. Clayton set to the left. The throw. Touchdown to Mark Clayton. What a remarkable job by Clayton.
I don't see how he got this ball in here, Jay. Good coverage by Lippett, 42. Here we'll see it in the corner. You got to get both feet down. Yes, he did. Good coverage. But a good call by the official who was right there. We'll take a look at the protection. Marino, good protection all day, as has Grogan. I tell you, Mark Clayton has really added a new dimension to this Dolphin offense with the speed and the excitement. Punt returner, pass catcher.
The extra point try by Von Schaman is good. 11 minutes to play in the third quarter. And the Dolphins now lead it 21-7. Robert Weathers for the Patriots out for the rest of the game. A sprained right knee, the third-year man from Arizona State. Marino is now 12 of 16, 176 yards, 2 TDs and the interception. as Miami has bounced out to a 21-7 advantage.
A big play by the defense setting up the touchdown by William Judson, causing a fumble. The Dolphins were number 2 in the National Football League in the turnover edge. They had more turnovers in their way than everybody except the Washington Redskins.
The kick coming down. Williams wisely decides to down it, and it'll come out to the 20-yard line. These Patriots have beaten the Dolphins in Florida in regular season play. They did it twice. That was in the AFL. The Patriots won here in the Orange Bowl 20-14, as we told you, in '66. That was the Dolphins' first year in the AFL. The Dolphins won the next 2 years, and then in '69, last season of the old AFL, Patriots beat the Dolphins in Florida. That game was played over in Tampa. Do you remember why, Bob?
No, I don't.
You don't remember why, huh? Handoff goes to Tony Collins. Collins getting it out to about the 22 or 23-yard line. Bob Baumhauer, number 73, made the play.
I think we got to give credit to the Dolphin defense. Last week, the Redskins really ran through them, and if the game hadn't been such a blowout, the Redskins could have controlled the ball a lot longer. I think the Dolphins defense today the run defense is really doing a much better job at stopping the run. Chuck Studley, the defensive coordinator, when he came in, his first priority was shut down the run this year. The Dolphins were not that good at it last year.
2nd down and 6. And it's behind the intended receiver, Irving Fryer. That pass might have been picked off by McNeil because Grogan threw it behind Fryer.
Irving Fryer, 28. Number 1 draft choice in the draft this year. Miscommunication. Either he was looking the wrong way. Usually with an experienced quarterback like Grogan and a first-year player like Fryer, that will always be the fault of the young receiver because he's not where Grogan expects him to be. He hasn't been practicing, though. He's been injured most of training camp.
3rd down. He's had some cracked ribs. Ready to go today. Grogan on the run. Throwing, and the penalty marker goes down. Pass interference call at the 30-yard line. Paul Langford in the nickel for the Dolphins, number 44 against Derek Ramsey. It'll be an automatic first down.
1st down.
Langford, the 3rd-year man from Penn State. The Dolphins like him. He's been improving. And he comes in the nickel along with Kozlowski.
Yeah, I think the Patriots need to throw a little bit to loosen the run defense up for the Dolphins and then get back to the running game. There's plenty of time to win the game, 10 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, but I think they have to loosen them up a little.
Collins gets the call over the 35 to the 37-yard line. He really hits the hole quickly. Mark Brown, number 51, who's had an outstanding afternoon for the Dolphins, made the tackle. The Patriots and the Dolphins, 2 of the outstanding teams in the American Football Conference, going at it here. Patriots have lost 16 in a row here in the Orange Bowl. Collins trying for the first down. Looks to be a little shy as Ernie Roan, number 55, made the play. Bob Baumhauer, number 73. Well, here is the New York Giants on the verge of a very, very big win. 28-0 as Sims has thrown an 18-yard touchdown pass in the 3rd quarter. Philadelphia leading Minnesota 9-3 as McFadden has kicked a 49-yard field goal. It's 21-7 Dolphins. 3rd quarter with 8:45 to play. Tupu is in the lineup behind Grogan. 3rd and 1. Tupu gets the call, gets the first down, almost, shot outside for lots more. Lyle Blackwood held on. It's a good thing he did. Blackwood, number 42, stopping Tutupu.
Tutupu has played well against the Dolphins down through the years, Jay. Remember a couple of years ago, I think you and I did the snowplow game up in New England where it snowed. Tutupu played the entire ball game.
I'll never forget it.
The weather's a little bit different today.
It sure is. No snowplow needed here today to clear the field. Ball at the 49-yard line. Patriots moving it with 7:55 to go in the third quarter. They're down 21-7. Grogan gets it out to Tutupu, and down he goes. Good play by Ernie Roan. Roan, who played at Little Henderson State, a free agent, now in his 9th year.
Gain of 2 yards, 2nd and 8.
We mentioned, of course, the untimely deaths of a couple of the Dolphins. And I'm reminded, of course, that Larry Gordon passed away in June of '83. Bowser playing over there in his spot. And, of course, Rusty Chambers, the auto accident in '81. It's been a tough go for them. Receiver was not looking. And it was intended for Ramsey. Glenn Blackwood's really upset with himself. He thought he should have had an interception, as Grogan and Ramsey were not communicating on that one.
What happens in a situation like that, Jay, the receiver will read one coverage, the quarterback will read another. Now, if you have a set pattern on, but if you see a different coverage or coverage that you're not expecting, then sometimes an adjustment will take you somewhere else. Grogan read it one way, and obviously Ramsey read it another way.
Grogan is 10 out of 19 for 105 yards, facing 3rd down and 8. Jones went in motion. Grogan steps up on the run, throwing, completing it to the tight end, Lynn Dawson. He was almost over the line of scrimmage when he got the pass away. He was very careful. You saw him slow down, make sure that he got that ball away before he got over the line of scrimmage. And Grogan combining with Dawson for a 1st down.
Take a look at Steve Grogan making a big play for the Patriots. The line of scrimmage is pretty close. He went straight down the line once he got close. Those quarterbacks know what's going on, don't they?
He was all right. 1st down for the Patriots. Grogan throwing. Intercepted. Coming back with it, Glenn Blackwood to the 40-yard line. Blackwood with his 2nd interception of the afternoon, 15th of his career, 3rd of the season.
Blackwood is a big play man of the defensive secondary. He rides the tight end to the inside and then comes off into the lane where Grogan was throwing. Grogan never saw Glenn Blackwood. Big interception. We'll be right back. Miami leads it by 14.
He's coming across. I think what happened, Crosby beat someone else's man because that can't be his man. He came all the way from the right side. He was just the closest guy to get there.
This is the NB.
WVIT Channel 30, New Britain, Hartford, Waterbury, New Haven.
With Bob Griese, Jay Randolph in the Orange Bowl. The Dolphins leading at 21-7, 6:53 to go, 3rd quarter. The Dolphins operating with the football after the interception up the sideline for Jensen. Intercepted right back. Roland James, the strong safety, took it in front of Jim Jensen. That's the 2nd time today that we've had that situation, Bob, where they've gone back and forth on interceptions.
Exactly right, Jay. And this time, Marino forces it. He's got Jensen, the ex-quarterback, out there. He does an out and up, the little pump fake. James says, I'm not going to have any of that. I'm going to play deep. He shouldn't have thrown the football. James gets it, makes the interception, and that's a good situation where the Dolphins and Marino were trying to force something to Jim Jensen. Jensen's done a lot in the last 2 weeks. But that time he should have gone somewhere else.
6 minutes and 45 seconds left to play as we look at Roland James. James played at Tennessee, an All-American there. 15th career interception, a #1 round draft pick. Mike Charles, 71, now at right end for the Dolphins. in motion. Cedric Jones, and the handoff going to Collins. 45, 47-yard line. Collins near a first down. Lyle Blackwood on the tackle. Let's go to New York, NFL 84.
All right, Jay, the Patriots and the Dolphins continue to trade turnovers today. And in St. Louis, another impressive Cardinal drive led by Neil Lomax. Stump Mitchell off the right side. 8 plays, 53 yards. Cardinals are putting it on Buffalo. 31-0. They're threatening again.
Well, the Big Red of St. Louis having a banner day. Bill Barnett, number 70, now in at the nose position for the Dolphins as Collins has a couple of yards to midfield. Grudzinski, number 59, on the tackle.
That's Cleve Bryant giving the signals to Steve Grogan for the next play. Call that one, Jay. Would he whistle in there?
The wig-wag system, huh?
The pat of the belly could have been the formation. The hand signal could have been the play, and then he could have been telling him to go to a receiver if it's a pass. You spend more time learning those signals than you do practicing almost.
Might have been asking for a curve on the outside of the plate. You never know. Grogan to the far sideline and right through the hands of Stephen Starring. And he's a little upset with himself. As Starring comes back into his huddle, we'll tell you that Collins is on target for a 100-yard day. Collins, 85 yards on 19 carries.
Second quarter, Chicago Bears 27, Denver nothing.
We get word that the precautionary x-rays taken on the knee problem of Andre Franklin are negative, but he will not return today. 3rd down and 8. Greg Hawthorne out of the game, or let's see, the throw now intended for Dawson. Hawthorne was in the game and he was set right, but the pass goes incomplete. Gary Hogaboom has thrown a 2-yard pass to Cosby, but Dallas is in trouble. 28-7, 3rd quarter. Detroit and Atlanta tied 17-all. Bartkowski, a 45-yard pass to Billy Johnson, and Cincinnati leads Kansas City 17-14. Jim Breach has kicked a 48-yard field goal. Punting time for the Patriots and Luke Prestridge. Mark Clayton downfield to receive. Last touchdown catch by Clayton was a real dandy. This is a high short kick. Fair catch called for over at the 16-yard line by Glenn Blackwood, the man on the left wing. A 34-yard punt. 5:14 remaining, 3rd quarter. 21-7 Miami. Miami with the lead. Don Shula has a perfect record against the Patriots in Florida. 14-0 over the years. Shula and the NFL arrived here in 70. Give right up the middle. Woody Bennett bangs for a couple. Toby Williams, big number 90 and left end, makes the stop. Detroit back in front of Atlanta, 24-17. 4:10 left in the 3rd quarter. Danielson to Leonard Thompson, an 11-yard touchdown pass. Tampa Bay leading New Orleans, 13-10. 23-yard field goal for Morton Anderson, and they are just 49 seconds into the 3rd period. Marino throws incomplete. Pass was thrown behind his intended receiver, Mark Duper. Duper, number 85, played at Northwest Louisiana State. He works out the offseason with the Buffalo Bills quarterback, Joe Ferguson. Miami with the lead, 21-7, 4.5 to go in the 3rd quarter. Patriots going into a prevent defense here on 3rd down and 6. Marino had to rush it. He had to bail out. That probably is about the most pressure that he's had today. Number 65 Doug Rogers was on the move. Let's go to NFLA 4 for an update. To New York.
All right, Jay, Riverfront Stadium, Todd Blackledge has brought the Chiefs back against Cincinnati. Carlos Carson beats Lewis Breeden, 19-yard touchdown pass. It is 21-17 Kansas City, and a good one at Riverfront Stadium.
And a good one here in Miami's Orange Bowl. The Dolphins leading at 21-7. Reggie Roby averaged 43.1 as a rookie. Led the nation his junior and senior years, and look at this one. All the way back to the 25-yard line. Pryor on the return, out of bounds along the 35-yard line. A penalty marker is down. 55-yard punt, 10-yard return, and the referee, Chuck Eberling, going to check it out. There's that old illegal shove in the back. We have one or two of those in every game.
One or two on every kicking
illegal block
play.
On the return, number 31. First down.
Call goes against Fred Marion. Well, Bob, we send along our congratulations to Walter Payton, going past Jim Brown's combined yardage mark today. We'll take a timeout here in the Orange Bowl. Right in the middle of your screen there, Chuck Studley, the new defensive coordinator here. Bill Arnsparger, of course, now at LSU. First and 10 from the 29-yard line for the Patriots. Ramsey goes in motion. Grogan coming long to Pryor, downfield, and incomplete. Right there with Irving Pryor was William Judson. Judson did an excellent job, Bob, of staying with his man.
Second down and 10.
Judson has really been a big play man. Here we'll see it. Here's Pryor with all that 4-3 speed. He's just going to come straight down the field. You have man on man. Let's take a look. Ends up to be a jump ball, but Judson doing very well. Gets back with him. The ball is out there, maybe a little bit underthrown. I don't know, Jay. I think it was almost interception, but I think if the ball had been thrown further downfield, it would have been better for Pryor to try and make the reception.
Right on. Second down and 10. Grogan straight back this time, in trouble. First sack of the day. Ernie Roan, number 55, made the tackle.
55, Ernie Roan. He's covering that man right there. He says, let me go ahead and blitz in if you're not going out. Gets in a good protection. The back just didn't stay in and block the linebacker. Ernie's had a tough training camp. Injuries, a torn quadricep muscle. Didn't get into until the last preseason game.
And he was bothered last year, of course. He never did quite get himself squared away. 3rd and 13.
Dolphins up showing blitz. All those people at the line are linebackers and safeties. Now they're backing out.
Grogan under pressure, throwing, and couldn't get it out there to Lynn Dawson, the tight end.
Now what that does, Grogan has to decide whether it's going to be a safety blitz or not. So he's checking off or he's not checking off, and everybody has to be on the same page with him on that offense. The receivers see it, and they say, is he checking or not? The Dolphins up there showing it, then they back out of it. Just another thing that the Chuck Studley in the orange shirt, A.J. Dewey right behind him, who hasn't played yet this year. The defense just showing Grogan and his young receivers another look.
Dewey on the injured reserve, the 4-week list. I hope to get him back soon. Luke Prestridge to punt. Wind really swirling now in the stadium. Almost blocked. And a short kick. Somebody might have got a hand on it. Now it's getting a good bounce for the Patriots. It'll go down to the 32-yard line. 43-yard punt. Detroit leading Atlanta 24-17. Danielson to Thompson, an 11-yard touchdown pass. 7 over Buffalo as Ferguson has thrown one to Preston Denard for 22 yards. Kansas City leading Cincinnati 21-17. Blackledge, a 19-yard pass to Carlos Carson. Tampa Bay 13, New Orleans 10. 23-yard field goal by Anderson in that one. Here it is 21-7. 3:20 to go, third quarter. The Dolphins with the football and the lead. Marino calling on Woody Bennett. Bennett getting to the outside and cracking up near the 40-yard line. Raymond Claiborne, 26, and Rick Sanford, 25, making the stop. Bennett showing some pretty good speed to the outside, Bob.
One of the things the Dolphins have been doing is rotating their offensive backs. First it was Andre Franklin. He got hurt, is out. Tony Nathan has been in, and now Woody Bennett. They're keeping fresh backs in the ballgame. It is hot and humid on that field right now.
Duper comes wide to the right. Clayton goes to the top of the screen. 2nd and 4. Dolphins 39-yard line. Nathan. First down. Ronnie Lippett, 42, making the stop. Better than 65,000 watching here today. Bob, we were talking about why they played that game in Tampa back when you remember there weren't drawing enough people here. They decided to go over there and see what they could do.
That's back when they weren't drawing a lot of people. Of course, the Dolphins weren't winning many ball games at that point either. And they thought they could do better in Tampa, and they did. Of course, they lost the ball game to the Patriots, but they drew a few more fans at that point.
1st and 10 for the Dolphins of Don Shula near the 45. Bennett down and back up. Got a couple. Doug Rogers, 65, making the play. Bob, there's, of course, some plans in the works for a new stadium down here for the Dolphins to play in.
They've been talking about a new stadium for a long time. Joe Robbie, the owner of the Dolphins, has been the leader of that effort, and now he's set out to do it himself. He's got plans. He's got 40% of the boxes, the sky boxes, and the preferred seating sold, and he's going to try and do it on his own. It's a big task, but if anybody can do it, I'm sure he will.
Plans to build at a place called Lake Lucerne that is north of Miami. Play action, throw to the far sideline. The ball is dropped over there by Mark Duper. Tom Blackman had the coverage. Duper caught the last pass that Bob Griese threw in the National Football League. Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't. That's something new because I was retired before he even came in. Where'd you get that?
I got that out of the book.
That's not right.
Not right, huh?
It's Daryl Harris.
Well,
I think it was.
You sure now?
Maybe I was hanging around a little bit more than I thought I was.
Maybe you threw it to him in practice one day. I don't know, but that's what the book said.
That might be it.
Marino's 11 of 19 for 185 yards. 3rd down and 8 from the Dolphin 47. A minute to play. 3rd quarter. Out of the shotgun, Marino steps up. Going long. And let's see. I think it might be offensive pass interference. It might go against Duper. It appeared that he shoved off. He was in a battle with Ray Claiborne.
From the way Duper's walking, it looks like it might be on him.
Offensive pass interference.
You can kind of tell the way you will see at the top of your screen, Duper just releases to the outside. He's going to go straight down the field. Marino throws it up. Good coverage on the play. Good little push right at the very end.
Frustration foul right there, huh? And he shoved him away. Tupu coming up.
He'll get the call.
Offensive pass interference, number 85, will be declined. 4th down.
4th down coming up. Reggie Rogan, very impressive second-year punter. Averaging over 50 yards today. Pryor back to receive. Oh, my goodness, he put this one up over the stadium roof. There's no roof, but at the side of the stadium here. Gracious. Pryor with a fair catch. Took it in at the 20-yard line. 34-yard punt that time. Well, don't forget to join us on November the 10th. Hollywood Park. 7 races. $10 million up for grabs. The Breeders' Cup. Every race, a purse of at least $1 million. The Super Bowl of horse racing. A turf happening right here on NBC, November the 10th, live from Hollywood Park. I think the players' salaries are a lot. How about how those horses are doing, Robert? Pretty good.
They don't get to spend any of it.
Pass is complete to Derek Ramsey. He crosses the 25. Brought down near the 29-yard line. The tackle made by Brzezinski, number 59.
Ramsey's interesting, Jay. He's the H-back. He came over from the Raiders last year. The Patriots use him as a tight end. Now they're using him as an H-back. That is half a running back and a half a tight end. He was a quarterback at Kentucky and even played on the basketball team for a couple of years. You know he's got to be an outstanding athlete to be able to play on that basketball team.
And a very good blocker, too. Jones going in motion. A handoff comes to Collins. Collins across the 30. Fumble. And do they rule it dead? I think they whistled it dead at the 32-yard line. It'll belong to the Patriots. John Hanna was there. Popped down on it. Number 73. The gun sounds. That's the end of the third quarter. The score, the Dolphins 21, the Patriots 7. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. We see Jay Randolph, the Orange Bowl, a wonderful, wonderful afternoon here in South Florida.
That's nice for you to say. You're up here in the shade. It's not so wonderful for those players out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going down and lounging by the pool or playing golf like you do down here every day of the week.
Sure. You live in Florida, they think you play golf all year round, right?
You're tough. You're tough. I need strokes. All right, we go to the fourth quarter, and Craig James is in there for the Patriots, number 32. Collins out of there. Grogan right over the middle, penalty marker down. The pass complete to Ramsey, who got over the 35. He was upended by Glenn Blackwood, and Blackwood, number 47, made the play at the 37-yard line, but there is a marker down. Grogan now is 13 out of 26, depending on whether this one stands, and it doesn't, so he is 13 out of 26. 126 yards. Collins has 88 yards on 20 carries. He's not in there at the moment, although, let's see, he's just come back on now.
Number 76, first down.
The call went against the four-year man, number 1 draft pick from Stanford, Brian Holloway. Played in the Pro Bowl last year. I'll back it up to the 22-yard line. Patriots got to get something going. They're down 21-7. Grogan under the rush. Gets it out to Collins. Blockers in front of him, but a great job by number 71, Mike Charles. Charles, the number 2 draft pick out of Syracuse a year ago, is still growing. He was the youngest player in the National Football League last year. He's just 21 years old, and he did an excellent job. Boy, he moves well for 290.
290, that's on Thursday when they weigh him in. He probably weighs about, at the start of the day, he probably weighed about 305, and that's no joke because Shula has never given anybody a weight that high, but he says Charles can handle it. He moves very well. This year his weight is up around 298.
Ty Morris now at center for the Patriots, number 75. Grogan spins out, goes down at the 12. Doug Betters, number 75. And the nose man, Bill Barnett, number 70, getting to the Patriot quarterback.
From the right side, number 75, Betters. They're doing a little game. They're crossing. Here comes Betters right up the middle. This is the situation where a quarterback says, I want to be in the booth. I don't want to be on the field. The exact thing Ron Mars said before the game he did not want to get into. Nickel situations against the 5 and 6 defensive backs and let the Dolphins tee off on their pass rush.
Patriots allowed 2 sacks last week in their win at Orchard Park, New York over the Bills. Giving up 2 today. Third down and 30. A little screen out to Craig James. He's at the 15, out to the 19-yard line. Far short of the first down. Got a little of it back. You see James out of SMU. They have high hopes for him. But it's punting time again for the Patriots, and a big hand for this defensive unit of the Dolphins. Prestridge in the Pro Bowl 2 years ago. Came from Denver, played at Baylor. Clayton is back. And it's taken at the 40-yard line by the wingman, Kozlowski over there, a 40-yard punt. 12:50 to play in this game. 21-7 Miami. Loose, stay loose, and get well. First down. Ball at the 40-yard line. Marino calls on Woody Bennett.
Woody Bennett's the ball carrier.
Leading by 14. They're going to eat up a little clock. Steve Nelson, number 57, on the tackle. Today's game is brought to you by Mazda, who invites you to experience the Mazda 626. By Radio Shack, the computer experts. And by Uniroyal. You may never need a tire this good. Second down and 8 for the Dolphins. Clayton going in motion. Marino to throw. Completing it out to the 47-yard line to Tony Nathan.
Marino's pass.
Larry McGrew, number 50, the right inside linebacker, made the tackle.
Larry McGrew,
Nathan,
6.
nor Franklin made any catches last week, but they had a good time with Duper getting 6, with Clayton getting 3, with Johnson getting 3. Cephalo caught 1. Moore caught 1. There are the comparisons of the quarterbacks.
2 interceptions by Grogan have really been telling tale. The Dolphins turned one of them around for a quick touchdown.
Marino now with 7 touchdowns in 2 games, and he might have had a third right there. Pass was a little high for Clayton to handle. He was on the dead run with Ronnie Lippett, and if he'd have been able to come up with it, he might have raced for the score. Looked like they had the right play call if he could have gotten it there.
Well, the Patriots were in a blitz situation. They're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive. Now they're behind 14 points with 11 minutes to go, fourth quarter, so they've got to come out of their deep zones, be a little bit more aggressive, and not let the Dolphins move it down the field on them. They need the football.
Reggie Roby ready to punt again. Selected on the 6th round. Had a 64-yard punt as a rookie last year. Irving Pryor downfield to receive it. High and short. Pryor calls for the fair catch at the 25.
Fair catch.
27-yard punt. Penalty marker down. Penalty marker down at the 47-yard line. You see referee Chuck Heberling indicating illegal procedure against Miami.
Ronnie Meyer was very high on Irving Pryor.
Illegal formation, offense. The penalty will be refused. It's first down.
They're not going to give Roby another chance to punt that ball. They'll take it and try to move with it from there.
But Ronnie Meyer says Irving Pryor is something really special. A lot of speed. He's going to be a good receiver. He played, well, the last game he played for the University of Nebraska was on the Orange Bowl surface. He lost that ball game, but when he learns the wide receiver routes in the National Football League, he's going to be very good. We'll be right back.
Bothered by a hamstring. They missed him out there running the routes. See him stretching there. He may be getting into this one. First and 10 to go for the Patriots. Down 21-7. Grogan over the middle, and it's complete. That's Derek Ramsey. As Bob told you, Ramsey came from the Raiders, the trade for Don Hasselbeck. The gain out over the 30-yard line. Chicago 27-0 over Denver. Matsui has just scored on a 4-yard run. The Giants leading 28-7. In other action, 24 all. Detroit and Atlanta tied up St. Louis winning big over Buffalo. Kansas City leading St. Louis. Tampa Bay still with the lead over New Orleans, and Philadelphia 12-3 over Minnesota. Ramsey comes in motion. Grogan going long, and too long. Stephen Starring, the intended receiver. The coverage, William Judson.
Grogan really misses Stanley Morgan. We had a shot of Morgan a couple plays ago. Pulled hamstring muscle, hasn't played in the last 3 ball games, and a veteran like Grogan looks for a veteran like Stanley Morgan. Morgan runs good routes. Morgan knows where the seams are. And the key is the quarterback, Grogan, knows where he's going to be. He's throwing to a lot of young receivers. Irving Fryer in his first year, Stephen Starring in his second year, Cedric Jones. It really helps the quarterback to have those veteran receivers in the ball game.
He's the all-time leading receiver, of course, for the Patriots. Batted down. And I think it was Beaucamper. Tim Beaucamper.
Down New England.
Beaucamper has some aspirations of being a professional wrestler at times, Jay. He'll be in the locker room on a Tuesday, and he does a pretty good imitation, by the way.
I know he attends the wrestling matches down here on occasion. I'm sure some promoters are hanging around saying we'll be happy to put you in there. Prestridge, a 39-yard average on 7 punts, as long as 43 today, and Mark Clayton at the 18. Over the 20, 22 to the 23-yard line. Clayton on the return. Craig James made the tackle. 10 minutes, 15 seconds remaining to be played. Miami 21, New England Patriots 7.
The great cars of Europe priced out of reach until now. Renault bridges the gap between European technology and affordability. Renault Alliance, a highly acclaimed, smooth, quiet ride, and sedan comfort for 5. Renault Alliance, fuel-injected, fuel-efficient, European technology from Renault, Europe's leading car maker. 6161, built in America and affordable.
There's Foster, the left guard, third-year man. First player from USC ever selected for the Dolphins. Number 1. First and 10 from the 24-yard line. And it is Woody Bennett getting the call. Again, they'll try to eat up a little clock, will the Patriots. Toby Williams, number 90, making the tackle. Number 61, Roy Foster.
Foster, first-round draft choice, comes around, gets a good block on McGrew, the linebacker, number 50. Foster is taking the place of a legend in Miami. Bob Kuechenberg is out for the season with an injury to his eye. Will probably not be back this year for sure, and maybe never play again.
Now the Cooch has been a great one on 2nd and 7 over the middle, and over the 35. It's Dan Johnson, the tight end. He made a nice move. Fred Marion made the tackle, number 31. Johnson, injured reserve in 82. Caught 3 in the opener for 17 yards against the Skins.
Foster to the right of your screen, a little protection. It's really a quick screen to the right side. Marino has the option to dump it to the tight end if he wants, and that time he took that option. But talking about Foster, Jay, you know, he really has a big job to fill. Kuechenberg has played in every postseason game the Dolphins have ever been in. And that goes back a long way.
Yes, indeed. Tremendous tradition there. Falling down with a football, Tony Nathan. He could have got more. He slipped and went down as he just got over the 40-yard line. Hopping down on him was Nelson, 57, and Kenneth Sims, 77. Philadelphia, a 2-point lead over Minnesota in the fourth quarter, 13-32. Alfred Anderson, a 20-yard pass. Tommy Kramer. Nathan, 29 yards on 9 carries today, 2nd and 7. Marino to the far sideline, and it's complete. At the 49-yard line, Mark Clayton. Ronnie Lippett, number 42, making the tackle, a 10-yard pickup. Bob, there's a cloud that hangs over the head of the Patriots when they come down here. I guess it's really become a jinx for them.
Well, that is really, like you said earlier, a monkey they've had on their back that they would like to get off of it. And people ask me why does one team win in another. And it's really, you know, the weather is a little bit different here. It's always hot and humid. Usually in New England it's cold. You have the crowd that's intimidating. The fields are different, grass here, but it's really hard to explain. The players can't explain it, and I really didn't do a very good job either.
Well, you get a little psyched out, I guess, huh?
Well, there's no question.
Nathan getting near midfield. Marino today is 13 of 22 and 201 yards. As Sims has got the football, but they're going to bring it back. He's pleading his case, but he's going to lose this one. He can take that one all the way to the Supreme Court and never have a shot.
No question there is some psychological warfare going on. When the Patriots come down here, they think somehow they're going to probably get beat by the Dolphins. And when the Dolphins go to Foxborough, where they've lost 7 of their last 8 games, they say, well, we'll play well, maybe we'll win, but something always happens to go the other way. So, you know, the Dolphins beat the Buffalo Bills 20 times in a row, and who knows why.
It was 7-7 at half. The Dolphins lead it 21-7. 6.5 to play. Marino downfield, and a catch by Johnson. Johnson, a sliding catch in front of Fred Marion, a 28-yard pickup. And this fellow's been very impressive today.
The designed rollout, 57, as you see Stevenson and 79 Griese out there for protection purposes. Gets him outside the pocket. A good throw running to his left and a good catch by Johnson.
Wonderful pictures provided by our director, Harry Coyle, and his fine crew here in the Orange Bowl. Our entire group headed up by Roy Abraham today, and hope you're enjoying the action wherever you are. Going wide to the right is Mark Clayton. Cooper set to the left side. First down at the 22. Banging straight ahead is Bennett for a 1 or 2 at the most. And a little rough inside there, Robert. Johnson, 3 catches today, 46 yards for the tight end, and get a look at how tough it is down in the trenches here this afternoon.
Look at the surge of the offensive line as we see the ball carry Bennett. There is no hole there. There is no vacancy, as they say. Good play by 85 Julius Adams. It isn't a place for any small, weak people in the middle of that offensive line.
Tampa Bay 13, New Orleans 10.
Clock running with 5:50 to play. Second down and 8. Our entire group headed up by Roy Abraham today, and hope you're enjoying the action wherever you are. Going wide to the right is Mark Clayton. Cooper set to the left side. First down at the 22. Banging straight ahead is Bennett for a 1 or 2 at the most. And a little rough inside there, Robert. Johnson, 3 catches today, 46 yards for the tight end, and get a look at how tough it is down in the trenches here this afternoon.
Look at the surge of the offensive line as we see the ball carry Bennett. There is no hole there. There is no vacancy, as they say. Good play by 85 Julius Adams. It isn't a place for any small, weak people in the middle of that offensive line.
Tampa Bay 13, New Orleans 10.
Clock running with 5:50 to play. Second down and 8. Marino. Penalty marker, a whistle. Too much time. The whistle sounded apparently just as the ball was snapped. First time we've had this call against either side today. There's Don Shula. 5 teams in the Super Bowl. His 72 team won Super Bowl 8. Beat Washington. 73 team won number 8.
Son Michael, busy weekend for the Shulas. His wife Dorothy went up to the University of Alabama, where his son Michael is quarterback for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and his other son, his oldest son David, is in the press box, the assistant coach for the Miami Dolphins. And So it's a family affair for the Shulas.
Got a question I want to ask you about one of Shula's teams, and I'll do that in a moment. Second down and 13, and again the whistle, and flags are thrown.
Flag on the play.
Illegal procedure, the primary indication.
Close start. Offense. Left guard. Second down.
The left guard, Roy Foster.
On the right of your screen starts, I don't know, that was pretty close. We couldn't tell from that, but
Flag comes in there, you see it. Bob, I wanted to ask you about the 1972 team, 17-0. Was that the best team that ever played in the National Football League?
well, Jay, that's hard to answer. It certainly was a dominating team, and you dominate the competition that year, and whether or not, I can't say whether it was better than the ones in the old days.
This pass is complete down to the 25-yard line. Mark Clayton makes a sliding catch. Miami now has been charged with 7 penalties for 51 yards. The Dolphins are the least penalized team in the NFL historically.
I think Ronnie Lippett, number 42, has had enough of Mark Clayton. They were having a little bit of a shoving match, but that has been where the Dolphins have done their damage through the air. Raymond Claiborne, their all-pro, was covering Mark Duper all day, and Clayton and Lippett has been the area where the Dolphins have done their damage.
Duper goes wide to the right. Clayton comes to the left side. There's Dan Marino, played for the Panthers of Pittsburgh. Classic drop-back passer. Oh, he tried a little shovel pass. That'll be an incomplete pass, I believe. That's correct. Tried a little shovel pass up front. That is a forward pass, and it's ruled incomplete.
Incomplete forward pass.
The old shovel pass. We'll see the snap. Marino here will take it and drift this way. Everybody will go this way, and Nathan right here will slide inside, expect to get the handoff right here, but as you'll see, it's a missed forward pass. Here it is. Slides this way, tries to shovel it forward. Not too, that may be the worst pass Marino threw all day.
43-yard attempt coming up for Von Schaman. He missed a 39-yarder in the first half. Strock holds. Von Schaman kicks it. And it is no good. So Von Schaman has missed 2 this afternoon.
Field goal is no good.
Let me show you that little mix-up a moment ago here. Low-angle view. The shuffle pass batted away there by number 95. The play made, or it was Adams, I believe, that got it away. We'll be back with more in a moment. In his 3rd year at the helm, the New England Patriots.
Some people feel Jay's got a little pressure on him this year, more so than the last 2 years because of the talent that the Patriots have on their ball club. Dick Steinberg has gone out and gotten a lot of new players. They really have a lot of good players. Pat Sullivan says this is the year. There's more optimism around the Patriot team than there has been, well, they said since 1775.
All right. This pass goes complete to Collins, and he is out to the 33-yard line, short of the first down. Blackledge fumbled out of the end zone. 2 points for Cincinnati on a safety. Kansas City still leading at 24-19. Here's another one to Collins. First down out at the 40-yard line. They've decided to try to move the ball. They'll probably give them those short passes, Bob, as the clock runs with 4 minutes and 13 seconds remaining to be played. Penalty marker down. Minnesota's taken the lead over Philadelphia, 17-12. Alfred Anderson scoring from 1 yard out. 11:49 left in the 4th period.
Holding. Offense. Number 68. Second down.
Darrell Haley, number 2 draft choice in 82. Fine young player. Number 68 out of Utah, called for the infraction. Next Sunday, the Patriots will play their home opener at Foxborough against Seattle. And the Dolphins play at Buffalo a week from tomorrow evening. New Orleans has the lead now over Tampa Bay, 17-13, as Grogan has to hurry, and the pass underthrown at the 33-yard line, intended for Lynn Dawson. Grogan couldn't get much on it as he was under a lot of pressure. Baumauer was coming.
Baumauer was on him, and that's why Grogan couldn't get much on it.
There's the time remaining, 4:07.
You know, Jay, when I was playing, this was the worst situation in the world for a quarterback. You're down by 14 points. The defense knows you're going to have to throw, and they've got nickel backs in there. They got 5, 6 defensive backs, and the rush is going to be coming at you. The only thing you can do is mix it up. Throw some quick passing, maybe sprint out, get outside the pocket, and then try and hit something long. But you got to mix it up.
Grogan running and throwing and completing. Got the first down. Cedric Jones, number 83, gets to the 41-yard line. Got an end zone view of this. They'd only converted on 4 of 15 third down situations. This is a big play for them. 18-yard pickup.
He'll complete this. He'll step up in the pocket. He sees a big opening there in the middle. Good feet by Grogan. Back into the pocket.
Back live and incomplete at the 47-yard line. Pass for Tony Collins.
Down the field on the coverage. That's intended for number 33, Tony Collins.
McNeil had the coverage. We have 3:36 left to go in this game.
The Patriots really haven't done anything the second half. Their first 2 possessions were a fumble and an interception, and then the next 3 or 4 were punts. That's not to say they can't go down and score a touchdown here, maybe try an onside kick. You never know. Sometimes the last 2 possessions of the ball game were the ones you do business with.
Well, you had to like the way they marched down the field 90 yards in the waning moments of the first half to tie it. And since then, they haven't had much going. Down the middle, complete. Derek Ramsey high into the air to make the catch at the 27-yard line. He had a crowd around him, a 37-yard pickup, first down. Clock running with 3:15 to go in the game.
Excellent throw by Grogan and a good catch by Ramsey.
Grogan again. Now it's intercepted. Back they come. Kozlowski, the extra man. Judson. And that is Judson for the touchdown. Kozlowski lateraled it off to Judson. And that turned it around. There is a penalty marker down. Back at the 29-yard line. Flag back at the 29. This big crowd hasn't seen it yet.
They may be talking, Jay, whether or not it was a forward or backward lateral.
I think it's going to stand. Let's listen. Chuck Eberling.
We have tipping number 68 offense. It'll be declined. It's a touchdown.
We'll show it to you again.
He was trying to go to Ramsey. Just a miscommunication between the quarterback. As you see Ramsey going to the inside. Kozlowski picks it off. He looks like a quarter. Look at this. He's looking for the option, like a quarterback on the option play. Pitches it out to Judson. Judson can run with the football. Obviously, as you can see, almost gets it knocked out by holding it up in the air a little too soon.
Kozlowski's 7th career interception. The nickelback from Colorado getting it to Judson for the score. Point after. Uwe von Schaman. And that just closes the door. The Patriots were driving, but now the big turnaround, and the Dolphins 28-7.
This was a very poor throw. It's hard to tell whether it's Grogan's fault or Ramsey reads the wrong defense and goes the wrong way. Whatever Kozlowski says, I'll take it. Kozlowski immediately starts looking for somebody lateral to. He's looking out right now. I'll tell you what, if Schuler would have seen that on a close ball game and him looking at lateral, he would have been all over Kozlowski. But since they're up 14 and the play works, he's going to have a lot of fun with this tomorrow.
Well, I'm sure he'll have some fun with it. He also may suggest to Judson that he doesn't hold that ball up out there around the 15-yard line.
That's a good point, and I'm sure that will be said in the film.
Don Schuler's Dolphins, 28-7 now.
Shula's done a great job with the talent he has. He's done a great job with Marino and a great job also with Judson, putting him in last year when McNeil was hurt with the ruptured Achilles. Done a good job with Jensen, moving him around. We saw him throw a touchdown pass today. He caught 2 touchdowns last week. Shula is just a master at moving people around and getting the most out of it.
Ron Schauman kicks off. John Williams coming out with it at the 10, 15, 20, 25 to the 26-yard line. A nice return. Eflin made the stop, a 28-yard return. Want you to stay with us now. The second half of our National Football League doubleheaders coming up on NBC Sports. Many of you see San Diego and Seattle. Cleveland playing the Rams, Indianapolis and Houston. So stick with us. That's coming up next right here on NBC Sports. The attendance this afternoon here in the Orange Bowl, 66,083 sitting in. 28-7 Dolphins. Over the middle, the pass is complete to Ramsey. And Ramsey's hit along the 31-yard line. The tackle made by Bowser, number 56. Batted and almost intercepted. Doug Betters made a big play to get that ball as Beaucamper batted it. There's a penalty marker down. The Dolphins in this second half have really controlled the line of scrimmage offensively and defensively.
Exactly, Jay, and that's what we said at the top. The Patriots really need to control the line of scrimmage. I think they're a little bit out of their element in this type of situation, having to throw the ball and no running game.
Offense, left side, not on the line of scrimmage. Decline. Third down.
Third down.
The Dolphins have been able to rush the passer, control the line of scrimmage, take the rushing game away from the Patriots, and force them to throw. When New England is at its best offensively, they are running first and throwing second. The last 2 years, they have been in the top 5 in the NFL in rushing stats.
Third down and 4. A little delay to Craig James. He's got the first down out of the 37. Grogan 19 of 39 today for 205 yards for Ron Meyer's club. 2-minute warning here. Now, here comes another one of those fantastic finishes.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes, 1983. Denver trails Baltimore 19-0 as Dan Reeves calls for the impossible. And rookie quarterback John Elway responds. Following earlier TD strike, his fourth down pass in the closing seconds is also complete. The amazing Broncos make up a 3-touchdown deficit in the fourth quarter to beat the Colts. And Gerald Wilhite literally flips up.
7. Mr. Griese, a pleasure working with you today. I think you set this game up right at the top, and we're right on today. Nice being back with you.
Thank you, Jay.
Tampa Bay now down 17-13, and that is the final. That's our final score in that one. Grogan steps up on the run. Down he goes. Third sack of the day. Beaucamper, 58. Mike Charles, 71. The Dolphins have really gotten with it here in the second half.
2 yards, second and 8.
Second down and 8. Clock running with 1:35 to play. And the pass complete out to the 39-yard line to Lynn Dawson. No, now they call it off. Incomplete. Call made. Incomplete by Dale Orem. The line judge, Dawson, is hurting. Lynn Dawson. He was a real find, an 8th-round pick in 81. Ron O'Neill.
He and Ron Wooten, Jay, grew up together in North Carolina and went to school together in high school, and then they parted ways. One went to North Carolina State, and the other went to North Carolina. And with a rivalry like that, they wouldn't be very good buddies through college, but then they end up back at the Patriots blocking on the same offensive line.
Well, we want to thank our entire crew here today and remind you to stay tuned for the second half of the doubleheader. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. Coordinating producer of NBC's NFL telecast, Ted Nathanson. Today's game has been produced by Ralph Abraham and directed by the veteran Harry Coyle. NFL 84 produced by John Filippelli and directed by Bucky Gunts. Tom Roy, the update producer. Thanks to the crew here in the booth, spotters and statisticians and all the gang, and to the thinking man's quarterback himself, the old man from Purdue.
Enjoyed working with you, Jay.
Thank you, Robert. Don Shula, got to be pleased. He looks ahead now at that Buffalo game a week from tomorrow night. The Bills lost to New England 21-17 last Sunday. They are taking it on the chin at St. Louis today. The Patriots home opener again against the Seattle Seahawks next Sunday. Kurt Warner has been lost, but Franco Harris is now on board.
And after being on the road for 2 weeks, the opening 2 weeks, it'll be nice for the Patriots to get back home to the friendly confines of
Sullivan Stadium, Foxborough, Mass. Grogan, straight back, in trouble, throwing and completing it to Cedric Jones. Jones gets across the 50-yard line. Brought down on the play by Charlie Bowser. We pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WVIT Channel 30, New Britain, Hartford, Waterbury, New Haven.
With Bob Griese, Jay Randolph. You've been watching the Miami Dolphins win their 17th consecutive game here in Florida over the Patriots. San Diego and Seattle, Cleveland and the Rams, Indianapolis and Houston. Some of you will be seeing that action coming right up the second half of the NFL doubleheader here on NBC this afternoon. And the NFL 84 crew will be updating you throughout the afternoon on what's going on around the league on this, the second Sunday of the 1984 season. Hot afternoon down there, Robert.
That's a big fan that Clayton is standing. He's got an ice pack on his neck, and a little air conditioning. Put the ice and let the air blow over it.
Cooling it off down there.
Clayton was a big addition to that starting lineup. Of course, when you do that, you have Duper on one side and Clayton on the other. You put Nat Moore and Jimmy Cephalo on the bench, and those are two veteran wide receivers that the Dolphins have used throughout the years to win a lot of football games. So the Dolphins are very deep at wide receiver.
New England's total rushing offense, except for 19 yards today by Tatupu and James, has all come from Collins. That's, of course, the one-back system. Collins had a good day, but he needed...
It makes you wonder, too, Jay, about the Patriots have all those good wide receivers and a lot of good running backs. They must think very highly of Derek Ramsey to go to the two tight end offense.
Well, and of course, they miss Morgan. We mentioned that again. Penalty marker is down as Grogan freelances, and it's intercepted. That's Don McNeil with the interception at the 10-yard line. And I think it'll be a holding call against the Patriots. Holding against New England. So the Dolphins are going to have the football with 1:10 to play, and Grogan has had a tough second half.
He's had a tough day. It hasn't been his type of game. He is strongest when he gets the running game going and can pick and choose his spots when to throw. It's tough for anybody to come from behind when you're this far behind and have to throw the football. That obviously was underthrown, but still, it's a very tough situation for any quarterback.
4 interceptions for Grogan. And, of course, this club has to face Seattle next week. They'll have to get it together. Getting home, as you mentioned, Bob, will be helpful to them.
It certainly will. Of course, I'd like to see it with more balance. They're so heavy towards running the football. I'd like to see them have a passing situation, or passing formations where they can just come out and throw the football.
Well, they'd like to get Morgan back, of course.
That's true. That is very true. And like we've said, is once they get now in the middle of the season, toward the end of the season, when they've got Morgan and Fryer and Storing and all these people healthy, and they've got Collins coming out of the backfield along with James. James has been nicked they've got a lot of exciting players on that offense.
It was 7-7 at halftime as the Patriots tied it up in the final minute, and it's been all Dolphins. Don Shula's club has put 21 points on the board in the second half. 28-7 is going to be our final. The clock running with 30 seconds remaining as Marino will just take this ball and go to one knee. And the Dolphins have won their 23rd game in this series against 13 defeats. In this, the 36th meeting. And the Patriots are now 1-17 at the Orange Bowl.
You see the players down there talking, maybe just kind of patting each other around. I'm sure the Patriots are saying, well, you got us, but listen, we'll see you in Foxborough. I hope the weather is nice and cool. We'll get even with you in Foxborough because that's been the way the series has gone. Home sweet home. When you're home, you win.
Ron Meyer's Patriots go down to defeat to the Dolphins. Final score, 28-7. In a moment, we'll continue a review of the action of today's game. The victory, 28-7.
Well, Jay, I think like we said during the broadcast, they finally got control of the line of scrimmage. Maybe the Patriots were wore down a little bit by the heat and humidity, but that has happened before here in the Orange Bowl.